welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to separate a pair of Afterthought Everything Socks. What you're going to need for this is a tapestry needle, a measuring tape, a pair of scissors, 4 double-pointed needles in the size that you're going to knit your toe in, your finished sock tube, and a removable stitch marker. You'll see why in a minute. The first thing that you're going to do is take your sock tube and measure it to find the midpoint. You want the exact middle of your sock. Now, I've already gone ahead and done this because my sock tube is quite long, and I've marked it with my removable stitch marker. Your removable stitch marker is marking the exact halfway point of your sock tube, and it also marks the row that we're going to be removing once we cut into our sock. Now, once you've gone ahead and found the middle, and you've placed a marker on it, you're going to rotate your sock tube so that your stitches are horizontal. And take one of your double-pointed needles. You're going to pick up the right leg of the stitch directly beneath your stitch marker. Now, if you're trying to figure out which leg is the right leg, your stitch makes a V, and you want the right side of that V. And just pick it up like that. You're going to go along and pick up the right leg of every stitch for half of the number of stitches of your sock circumference. In this case, it's going to be 32. Now you want to be very careful that you're not accidentally picking up a stitch from the row above or the row below your midpoint. If you do this, once you cut into your yarn and you start removing the middle row, your stitches will start to run. So you want to be very careful and make sure you're following the correct row. Once you have the correct number of stitches on your double-pointed needle, you're going to start picking up the right leg of half of the number of stitches of your sock circumference on the row above your marked row. So we're going to start right here, just the stitch directly above our stitch marker. The more stitches that you pick up on your double-pointed needle, the more difficult it's going to be to maneuver your needle under the leg of each stitch. So just make sure you're taking your time. Once you have the correct number of stitches on both double-pointed needles, do one more count just to make sure. Perfect. Now we're going to flip over our sock tube and start on the opposite side. You want to make sure you're continuing picking up stitches from the same rows as before. If it's easier, you can move your sock tube like this and just keep following the row. Once you have one row fully picked up, you're going to be picking up the last row, continuing from the top from the other side. So we're going to have one row of stitches in between that is not on a set of needles, and that will be the row that we're going to be pulling out. Once you have all of the stitches on, do one more count, just to make sure you haven't missed anything. Perfect. Now that we've got all of our stitches picked up, you're going to grab your tapestry needle and pick up the right leg of the stitch directly on the opposite side of the sock tube from where your stitch marker is. So it's going to be on this side for me, I'm going to pick up the right leg. You can just see it poking out from my double pointed needles. Now the fun part. Take your scissors and you're going to snip this stitch. Now, since we've done our due diligence and we know that all of these stitches are on the needle, there's nothing to worry about. And there, you've successfully cut into your sock tube. From here, we're going to start pulling the stitches through from that middle row. Your yarn will get a little frayed, but that's to be expected. Just go along, gently tug, and you'll see that your sock tube is starting to separate. Now we're just going to do one side at a time. As you get more and more of your thread pulled from this middle row, it may want to get caught or be a little more difficult to pull through because it's all crimpy. But if you're just patient, it'll be just fine. You don't really want to try to pull more than one leg at a time, because then it'll be easier for your yarn to knot up and it'll be more difficult to pull through those stitch legs. Now we've pulled out the complete middle row from the back side. We're going to flip our sock and do the same for the front side. Starting from the end where we cut our yarn. Once you've gotten to the end, just give a little tug. And there's the magic. You have successfully separated your Afterthought Everything Socks. Because of where we cut the yarn when we started pulling out our middle row, there will be enough to weave in your ends at the toe point. You can transfer your toes onto your preferred needles for knitting your toe, whether that be magic loop or DPNs. And then you can finish off your toes. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like and subscribe for more, and happy sock knitting!